Hello everyone, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. My name is Benga Adeyemo. I'm a Microsoft Certified Trainer and I'm also a Microsoft Certified Power BI Data Analyst Associate. Today, let's talk about changing dimensions and how do you handle slow changing dimensions, which is known as SCD. How do you handle SCD Type 2 in Power BI? So we have SCD Type 1, SCD Type 0, Type 3, Type 4, Type 5, 6, 7, and like that. Now, how do you handle SCD Type 2 especially? Because it keeps tracks of historical record, right, within a business operation. So let's say a particular staff got married and their marital status changed from single to probably married. And also maybe you have a staff that moved from Lagos and it was being transferred to Abuja, right, or to a new location or to a new country. And that particular staff has done some, some transactions, have made some sales in his previous location before moving to a new location. So how do you track all of these to see what the staff is doing as per maybe their sales activities, and how can you handle this historical data, right? So let's see how this works. Number one, let's even define slow changing dimensions. So what is slow changing dimensions? Slow changing dimensions are dimensions that slowly change. Funny, right? That's the simplest I can give. So let me share my screen now and show you the different types of SCD, but I will only be stopping at SCD type 2 because that's the main reason why I'm creating this video, right? So we have SCD type 0. For SCD type 0, it's fixed dimension. It means that nothing changes, right? For example, we have Cynthia Tokumbo with staff ID AAQ1, who is in the finance department, who is a single person, and another guy, Tunde, who is AAQ2 staff ID. He works in the kitchen department and is married. So in SC, we are all used to dimension tables that has unique list of probably all the, of all the staff, and there's no duplicates. And we say, yes, that is the primary key for that table. The staff ID is the unique identifier, but this is a different ball game entirely. But let's go ahead, right? So in SCD type 2, in SCD type 1 rather, in SCD type 1, so the uh, we replace the old record with a new record, right? So in SCD type 1, you will see that this Cynthia Tokumbo, staff ID AAQ1 in finance, was single, right? But when Cynthia, she became Cynthia Charles, right? Now she's married. She became Cynthia Charles, a new surname. She now bears her husband's surname, or you call it last name, right? Now you see that the marital status has now changed to married. So in this scenario for SCD type 1, what happens is that we replace the new marital status with the old one. So whatever she has done in the old one, whatever activity she has performed in the company, in the old marital status, right? This does not keep track of historical data. So we replace, right, marital status with married now, right? Now, the fun part, the SCD type 2. For the SCD type 2, right, you see that it's a little bit different from type 0 and type 1. For SCD type 2, you will see that we have the Cynthia Tokumbo. That was her previous name before she got married, right? Now she's bearing Cynthia Charles, right? Now you will see that the staff ID still remains the same, the department still remains the same, only that the marital status changed. Now you will see that there's a new two additional columns now that we have here. We have record start dates and we have record end dates. Now the record start dates, this was when she started working, right? 16th of May 2020, and her single status ended on the 6th of September 2022, right? 2 years after, right? Now, the new record of her being married started 7th of September 20, a day, just a day after the record end date for single. The new record start date for her being married started this date. And because this is still an ongoing marital status, it has not changed. You will see that the record end date is showing the maximum calendar date. So in some organizations, they usually implement their slow changing dimensions in such a way that you just see that this particular part is just empty. Instead of 9999 1231, you will see that it's just going to be empty. There's not going to be anything there at all. Okay, interesting. Now let's look at the second staff, Shade Falade. This was a previous name, a former name before she got married. Now when she's married, she's now bearing Shade Coker, right? The staff ID remains the same, nothing changes. The department remains the same, nothing changes. Now the marital status also changes, right? Because now she is married, right? Now, this is the record start date and the record end date, right? And when a new record, when a record ends, right, there will be a record end date. When a new record begins, there will be a record start date. And the record end date for the current one is probably going to be, the maximum date. Some companies even implement their own such that you will see something like this is active, right? So this one will be 0, this one will be 1, this one will be 0, this one will be 1. So you can know the one that is currently active, right? So this is just to introduce you to slow changing dimensions. Now I'm going to go to the folder here. I'll go to the folder here where I have the data I want to use in the Power BI analysis. So I'm going to just open it for you to see. Then I'm going to import this data inside of Power BI desktop and we'll start analyzing this data. So you see that now I have the staff table. Now, okay, I think I have two tables here. Yeah, I have the staff table and I have the sales table. Yeah. So now in this staff table, you will see all the staffs, right? And you will see that when this, so they are sales managers, right? That's the assumption. So the assumption here is that these guys are sales managers. So you will see that these guys now, Cynthia Tokumbo was formerly in Lagos from this date to this date. Now, let me expand the screen so you can see clearly. So Cynthia Tokumbo was in Lagos between this date and this date. Now she is in Abuja. She has been transferred from Lagos to Abuja, right? Now, why she's in Abuja, she could go to Abuja on this date because she's still in Abuja at the moment. So that is why you see that the record end date is showing 9999. That's the maximum date, right? Okay, maximum calendar date. Same goes for some other stuff. So this Shade Falade was moved from, you see that there are two things that are happening here. The change of name, whether by marriage, whether by somebody just feeling like they want to change their name and they change their name, right? So it might be different factors. You see that the change of location is bringing change of name. So this is kind of dynamic, right? So this lady rather was moved from Ibadan to Lagos. It was in Ibadan from this date to this date, and now in Lagos from this date up to now, right? Up to now, she's there. Okay, so and so on and so forth for some other stuff. But there are some stuff that actually they did not move at all. That is, they are still in the location where they are, right? There are some stuff that don't have double records. They don't have a new record. The record still that they have from the beginning is what they still have. So look at this guy now, Jumbo, right? Jumbo has been in Uyo since this date, 5th of January 2023, and the guy has not been transferred to any new location at all. Interesting, right? Okay, now let's look at the other table that we have here. So this is now a sales table that shows the different sales managers' transaction, right? Let me expand this also. Let me zoom in so you can see clearly. So this is showing their sales activity, their sales operations, right? So look at this particular staff ID, right? Look at the sales date, look at the sales amount, look at the location. So when this person was in Lagos, the sales amount was 5,000, but they transferred her to Abuja. Now she sold something of 3,000, right? Okay, good. It's interesting. Nice. Okay, now that we know this, that we see this. So how can we now analyze or report this kind of data? How can we report it to our stakeholders? At the same time, keeping track of historical data. So when staff ID AAQ1 was in Lagos, by the time we sum up Lagos sales amount, total sales amount for Lagos, what we want to see is that the amount that was sold by this person when she was in Lagos, right, should appear for Lagos. And when she moved to Abuja now, by the time we are tracking Lagos for that particular year when she was there, we want to see that whatever she sold in Lagos should be part of the Lagos sales, right? Whatever she has done in Lagos should be part of the Lagos sales, right? And whatever she is now doing in Abuja, which is still current, should also show in the Abuja sales. That's exactly what we want to do. Okay, so let me close this. And I'm going to open my Power BI. I have it opened already. And I'm going to import data from Excel, right? Then I have it already here in this folder. I'm going to click this. It's going to connect to Power BI. So let's wait for like a few seconds and it's going to establish connection, right? Then I'm going to see my navigator pop out. I see that there's a table and there's a range. So I'm going to go for the table though, because the table does not have other unnecessary columns or rows, left, right, up, center. Okay, now I'm going to click on transform, right? I only need those two tables. I'm going to click on transform. I've done that. That takes me to my Power Query where I'm going to perform the wonder, right? So now I'll just check through my data type to see that everything looks good. Everything looks good. So I have my sales ID. I have this is sales table, staff ID, the sales date, the amount, and the location, right? The staff also has all the changes happening to different staff, change in location, change of name. But you see that the staff number still remains the same. The staff number remains the same. There's a change of name, there's a change of location, but the staff number remains the same. Now, I want you to notice something. This serial number. Now, we assume that this serial number is what is called a surrogate key. A surrogate key is an artificially generated key. That is, the system generates the key, right? So the system, the database has been configured in such a way that whenever there's a new record, regardless of whether it is the same staff, right? Regardless of whether it is the same person, the same individual, is going to auto increment, right? It's not going to repeat the serial number for that same person, right? So you see that here now, the staff ID is repeating because it's the same person. So what changed? I changed my name, I changed my location as a staff, but this serial number would always generate a new key whenever there is a new record, regardless of whether it's the same individual or it's not the same individual, right? Now, there might be a little issue here. Let's say I want to connect the staff ID in the staff table with the staff ID in the sales table. It's probably going to give me a many-to-many relationship. So let's go and see what happens. Let me just close and apply. I don't think I have anything to really do here in terms of data cleaning. Everything looks good. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to say close and apply. That takes me back to my Power BI desktop. Then I can, okay, it's loading. I was about clicking apply changes before, but it's loading already. Then wait for a few seconds. Then I'll go to my model view. It's almost done. Almost done. What's it taking so much time? Okay, done. Then I'll go to my model view. Then I will show you the challenge I was telling you about. So I'll go to my model view now. And the common thing I have with these two tables is staff ID, staff ID. If I should use staff ID, right? If I should say staff ID on staff ID, what would happen is that it will tell me that uh, this is going to cause a little bit of issue for me, right? Because it's going to bring about many-to-many relationship. How do I then handle this kind of situation? How do I handle it? Okay, if I say, okay, there are two columns that are similar to both tables. Let's say I say there's location and there's staff ID. Okay, nice. I can decide to use location and staff ID. But if I press Control or Shift, I try to select the two. It's not even working. It's not working, right? So even if I select the two, is it not still going to be many to many? Okay, you know what? Let me disturb myself. How do I sort this out in a very simple way? I'm going to show you that right away. So how to solve this in a very simple manner. Now let me close this. We are going to go back to our Power Query. Now, when we get to Power Query, we are going to just say transform, and we'll go back to our Power Query. Now, let me just do the wonder so that you can see what I want to do. So you know that I don't have this serial number exists on in my staff table, right? But I don't have serial number on my sales. Now, the issue is that let's say I do a merge and I'm using the staff ID to return the staff ID to return probably to return a serial number on the sales table. The problem with that is that if I'm using only staff ID to do that, that means that it's not really going to capture the, if I'm using the staff ID, right, to return the serial number on the sales table, just like when we do VLOOKUP in Excel. The problem there is that it might not probably return well for me, the serial number, because staff ID probably appeared 2-3 times in the staff table because of changes in location, right? Because of transfer from one location to another. So if I should say I should use staff ID, then, and I have different serial numbers for the same staff, then it's going to cause a lot of problems because it's not going to pick it the right way. So how do I handle this slow changing dimension type 2? So what I'm going to do, I'm still going to use merge, but I'm not going to be using one column to merge so I can return serial number in my sales table. So what I'm going to do is this, I'll go to my sales table and I'll just say merge queries, right? I will say merge queries, and I'm going to say I'm going to just pick the staff table. So I'm going to click on staff ID, and I'm going to click on staff ID here also, right? But I'm not going to be using, so let me try and use staff ID alone, and let's see what happens. So I press OK, and I now say, okay, return just a serial number, and I press OK. Okay, so you see what is going on here now. What is going on here is that you see how it's repeating this guy, AAQ1, 101, 102, 101, 102, and this is not exactly, it's not returning it in the right way, in the correct way. So what do? I'll go back to my match query step, and I'm not going to be using staff ID alone. I'm going to be using staff ID and location together on both tables, since those are the similar columns that they both have together. So I don't have to create another additional column that will merge the two columns together on both tables. No. I don't need to do all of that. So I'm just going to click on the staff ID and click on the location, click on staff ID and click on the location, right? Then I'll press, okay, so staff ID, location, staff ID, location. So to do that, you have to press the control button and you click on the second column that you want to use to merge the two tables. You apply that same step on the second table and you press OK. It's going to be on left outer join based on default, and I press OK. Right now, I can go back to my expand there. You see that it's returning, it's still maintaining that same rules, right? Without doing it in the wrong way, right? Because that would like duplicate my numbers, and that's not what I want. Now that I have serial number on this table, so I'm going to be using the serial number now to connect this table with the staff table. So when this staff was in, okay, so let's go back here. AAQ1, when she was in Lagos, when she was a serial number one, when the record shows 101, Cynthia was in Lagos. Now that the serial number shows 102, Cynthia is in Abuja. Let's go and confirm that in the sales table. So when it was 101, Cynthia was in Lagos. You see now, when she was in, when the record shows 102, Cynthia is now in Abuja. Now, this serial number is called a surrogate key, system generated key. That is, for every new record in the dimension table, use the staff table, it will create auto increments and create a new key, regardless of whether it's the same person or it's whether it's the same staff or whether it's not the same, whether it's not repeating the staff, right? So if I use staff ID, it's not working many to many. Now I'm using serial number. It's unique here, right? On the staff table, and on the sales table, it might be duplicate because yeah. So I don't even think there's any duplicates. It's not even duplicates because it's based on the location and the staff ID at the same time. So there's no duplicates, right? So now that I've done this, I can now go back to. So let me just do something on the sales table. Let me go to my sales dates and add column and add the year. I just need just the year, right? And you're going to see why I need the year column. Now this is everything looks good. Everything looks good. Close and apply now. Close and apply. Now I can now connect the two tables together using the serial number. So, it's even connected, right? Let me just go there and confirm serial number, right? Okay, if you don't want it to, auto connect to each other, you can go and switch that up in your options and settings. So everything looks good, right? So now I'm not going to go to my report counter. I'm going to click on my matrix table, right? And click on my matrix table. Then I will probably just go to my staff table. I'm going to bring in the staff ID, right? They are going to be on my rows. Look at the staff ID. I will bring in the location also from my, my staff table, right? I'll bring in the location. And from my sales table, I can do an implicit measure. I'm just going to track the sales amounts inside values. Now, interesting. You will see that this Cynthia, she sold, product worth of 3,000 in Abuja and sold product worth of 5,000 in Lagos. So if I'm looking at the stakeholder, if the manager, the CEO, the director, the stakeholder that's requested for this report is seeing this table, they can see that when this staff, Cynthia, when she was in Abuja, this was what she did. And when she was in Lagos, this was what she did. But assuming that the table structure is not changing dimension type 1, that is, we are replacing, it will just be showing Cynthia's transaction as per the current location because it has been replaced. But in slow changing dimension type 2, right, what happens is that when there's a change, there's a new record that tracks that change. So now that they can see their performance in all the locations that they have been transferred to, right? So the way we handle slow changing dimension differs depending on the use case. It depends on the context and the nuances that comes with the data that determines how you handle slow changing dimension type 2 in Power BI. So if you look at, there are some other staffs that probably did not get any transfer at all. So this guy did not get any transfer at all. He wasn't transferred to anywhere, right? So he was the only place that he worked as a sales manager. All these other guys were transferred. This one was not transferred. So you see that people that showed sales amount from them in different locations, that tracks what they have done in the different locations that they have been transferred to. So guys, I have come to the end of today's video. I hope you find this very interesting. This is slow changing dimensions type 2. I would like you to put something in the comment section. Tell me if you enjoyed the video. Tell me what you've learned. Tell me if there's a better way to do it. Let's share ideas together. Let's collaborate. Tell me about your experience, handling slow changing dimension type 2 in Power BI. Thank you very much. God bless you. See you in my next video. Bye.